if you need to, there we go. All right, so our live stream is up. I don't think I have the live chat window up on the iPad for Jazmine, but if you want to type something in the comments, she should see them, and we'd be happy to try to integrate your comments, ideas, questions, and if you'd like to lampoon us, you're more than welcome to. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about a couple things that have happened recently. First off, we want to talk about this woman by the name of Lauren Dumolo, who has gone missing from the city of Cape Coral recently. And let me get her picture up on a screen for everybody to look at. This is Lauren here. She went missing about almost a month ago. And the story says that Lauren, who was last seen June 19th in Cape Coral, would have celebrated her 30th birthday on Tuesday. A Florida mother, that's Lauren, has been missing for nearly a month, though a lead investigator in the case is holding out hope she'll be found alive. It's never a good sign when they say holding out hope, right?
No, definitely not.
No. Lauren Dumolo was last seen June 19th at an apartment in Cape Coral and was reported missing 2 days later, according to the Fort Myers News Press. Her purse was found June 16th by a citizen at 4 Freedoms Park, the same day she was last seen alive. Dumolo's family said earlier this month that they've been searching the park twice a day for clues. Dumolo's cell phone was found in her apartment, which is odd. Mm-hmm. It's almost like they took her purse and ditched it at the park. I mean, she may never have even been there. Police noted she was a frequent visitor of the park where her purse was discovered. Detective Nick Jones, who has been working to find Dumolo, told local media he remains optimistic. Quote, "It's tough. I'm a father myself. I have 3 kids, and one of them is a daughter. I have a girl," he told local outlet WINK Wink News, adding that he has never failed to solve a missing person case. That's a little cocky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of...
He must be a young cop, detective.
It's unfortunate, and under the circumstances, it's inappropriate, in my opinion, to make a statement like that. It's
grandstanding, absolutely. Okay, so Nick Jones is a douche. Douche.
Douche.
Douche. So I'm worried. I'm worried and scared. Okay, I skipped a paragraph. It says the police are looking at all leads in the case, including Dumolo's boyfriend, Gabriel Pena, who has been interviewed by police but hasn't been named as a suspect in the case. Quote, I'm worried and scared. Not scared because I didn't do anything, but I'm just worried something really did happen. You think?
Repeat that
Quote,
statement.
I'm worried and scared. Not scared because I didn't do anything.
Wait, not scared because I didn't do anything.
Not scared because I didn't do anything. But I'm just worried something really did happen. It does sound like a double negative, though, doesn't it?
It does sound like a double negative.
Pena told Wink News last week. Jones told the outlet that he couldn't say if Pena is officially a suspect. I mean, if they're saying that, that means he's a POI at least, right?
Well, I think anytime you have a situation like this, any partner is going to be a POI. Yeah. I mean, just regardless, it doesn't matter what the circumstances.
Yeah.
That they're going to look at the partner first.
Tuesday was Dumolo's 30th birthday, and her friends and family celebrated it on social media with the hashtag #BringLaurenHome. According to Fox 4, the wondering part is probably the worst you know. Even if the answer is bad, at least you have closure, Lauren's father, Paul Dumolo, said. That sounds like such a weak thing to say. I don't think I would even talk to the press. Like, if my daughter was missing, like, all I would be asking is, hey, do you know anything? If you don't, get the fuck out of my face. Like, do you know something new? Otherwise, get out of here, man. Anyone with any information on Dumolo's current whereabouts or anyone who may have seen her at any point on or after June 19th is asked to contact Cape Coral Police at 239-574-3223. Now, there is a little bit of a development in this case. First of all, this is Gabriel Pena. This is the boyfriend. This picture was lifted from Facebook, and it's about 2 years old. So that's what the boyfriend looks like. And what has happened in this case is they've tried to set up this hashtag and get social media support behind them. They've tried to get Twitter behind them with the whatever that hashtag is that I just said. Did you catch that when I was reading it? Bring Lauren home. Hashtag Bring Lauren home. The problem is they got like zero traction because it's a from scratch Twitter account. They only have like 10 followers. I think our show was follower number 10. So they're getting no action on Twitter because what Twitter does is reward people that already have a big audience with an even bigger audience, right?
Right.
And don't reward people with a small audience. So the organizers of the @Lauren Dumolo Twitter account have actually taken this a little more strategically. They're going to relaunch the Bring Lauren Home hashtag on Saturday, which is tomorrow. And the date of that is Saturday, July 18th is tomorrow. What they're saying is that you want to use a tweet that uses the hashtag Lauren Dumolo, LAUREN DUMULO, and bring Lauren home. And they want you to tag Newsweek, and they want you to tag Oxygen, which is running the story that we're reading right now. And they want you to mention that people are trying to find Lauren. What they're hoping is that they can get this Twitter trending thing going on where enough people, not retweet, but post individually about the same trend at the same time. They don't want you to retweet it because... the
retweet's not really going to get the information out there. It's going to be the trend on the hashtag that's going to create the traffic.
Exactly
for
right.
it to be seen.
Exactly right. So they want there's a if you follow @Lauren Dumolo on Twitter right now, they actually have a text file that has some suggested tweets if you want, and they want to start this all tomorrow evening, I believe 5 p.m. Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. But they want to try to get as many tweets out as they can at that time, individual tweets, not retweets, like you said, to try to get some attention on this so they can get Lauren safely delivered back to Cape Coral, hopefully in one piece. Did you have any insights on this case that you wanted to share? You spent a little bit of time contemplating it, and you had a couple of ideas.
I mean, at this point, out of the courtesy of the family, I don't feel it's appropriate to share some of my feelings that I have regarding it. Just a couple blank statements that I'll make. Intuitively, the number 4, specifically for men, does come up around this. You said she is a mother. Was that correct?
The father was quoted in the story. It does not say anything.
Does she have a child?
It does say she is a mother, yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't say how many children.
Okay. Because I did pick up on a little girl. Just from what I know, the fact that her cell phone was in her apartment,
That's a little bit different.
In and of itself, and how attached we all are to technology today. It's odd for somebody to just, I mean, how many times do you leave your house and when you realize, oh my God, I left my phone at home.
Yeah.
Unless you're
and
like,
you turn around and you go back and get it.
Right. Unless you're going to be like just running out real quick to go do something and then coming right back. And even then, I know I'll go back and grab my purse or my phone, and the fact that the purse is found at a park, makes me feel like it was not necessarily, I feel like there's 2 crime scenes involved with this.
Okay. Maybe an abduction and a second crime scene. or
I
a
wouldn't,
coercion, perhaps.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that. Like I said, out of respect for the family and some of the energy that I get off of this, I think there's a little bit more to the story and her, perhaps her social history that plays into this. But on this one,
In other words, there's more to the story than what we've read, perhaps.
there is more to the story, obviously. I mean, they haven't found her yet. I just, I'm not comfortable.
Right. It's speculating, and it could be very disrespectful if
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I do hope that some of the information, some of the trends that people can get on Twitter and start getting the information out there so that she can be found.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, whatever the story is, whatever the conclusions are, the bottom line is that it's important to solve cases like this because something clearly happened here, and
a family, they need closure one way or another.
Yeah, and we don't, we want crimes to get solved.
Right.
So a quick recap: follow at Lauren Dumolo on Twitter. That's LaurenDumolo. This is the Twitter of the search team and family. If you go on that Twitter account now, you can see suggested tweets, which they want you to copy and paste into new tweets using the hashtag Bring Lauren Home, beginning tomorrow. So for more details on that, check that out. We'll follow up on the story later, and certainly we hope the very best for Lauren's family and for Lauren herself, wherever she's at. Hopefully she's well. And that brings us to another interesting story on a completely different scale altogether. And I want you to take a look at a picture before we intro this thing.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and blow this picture up. And what do you think that looks like in the foreground there, kind of right where my head is?
That looks like a mound, an area that people could possibly gather and hold some kind of a party, a ritual. The pathway that leads to that field, it looks like we have maybe... I'm trying to look over our main cam here, so pardon me for looking at.
There's definitely an entrance to this thing, yeah.
Definitely an entrance, and then if you look further back and everything, it looks, that little clearing part looks like a potential altar.
Where do you think potentially there would be an altar?
If I had to
Over
guess, no. Look right in that area. Yep.
Here, down here?
No. Go back up.
Up here somewhere?
Yeah, right there.
Okay. Well, okay. So you think this would be a place where a religious ceremony of some kind would occur?
Potentially so, yeah.
Well, this is
It's built up. I mean, you wouldn't... The height of those mounds,
Oh, they're tall. Like they're taller than those imperial palm trees.
Right.
Those 16-foot palm trees right there.
The height of that, you wouldn't... it would be where you wouldn't want to know or be able to see from nearby what was exactly going on in there.
Yeah. Yeah, or maybe you would want to try to be containing some sound or something like that.
Well,
it's really weird, though, isn't it?
I think about, at at the old gun range for the.
Well, that's a good point. Maybe it was a gun range. Maybe that's actually just a gun range.
At the sheriff's office, the out in the rural Golden Gate Estates, the Collier County Sheriff's Office gun range has a big bank like that, and that's to catch the.
Well, I'm going to show you one. I'm going to step you through a Google Earth image of this actual site.
Yeah, whatever's behind it looks kind of like a
resort or something.
Nice little resort back there.
Yep. All right, so you've got a good idea of this image in your mind. It looks like something maybe perhaps the size of a football field that is dug out with a very large mound that goes all the way around it.
You wouldn't be able to see what was going on.
Yep. And the mound is at least as tall as the bleachers at a football game. Maybe they're tall as these adult palm trees, so probably 12 to 16 feet tall. Now, let's actually zoom out a little bit and take a look at... Got to get reoriented because we are looking at Jeffrey Epstein's private island, and this is 2020 imagery from Google.
I just want to say that as soon as you said that, I immediately got goosebumps.
So this is also known as Little St. James Island in the Bahamas, which is right next to St. Thomas.
Yeah. Oh, look at that tennis court.
So this appears to be a tennis court. Now, did that drone footage look anything to you like a tennis court?
No.
Now, you saw how it was dug out around here, and this also appears to be dug out.
I would agree with that.
There's a mound all the way around the sides here.
But look at the asymmetry even, of the...
It looks like it's not on flat land.
No.
Which is clearly not the case, because when you look at the actual photo...
Yep. When you go back to the original image...
If I can find the original image. Where did I put it? Did I close it? Yeah, I probably did.
Even so, though, the original image there. Yeah. We've got nice... that terrain, even from drone footage, it looks pretty flat to me.
Oh, it's perfectly flat. And there's even an X across the middle of it.
Oh yeah.
You see that? And I have no, or at the very least, there's a triangular kind of formation right here. But it seems to me that there's an X that goes all the way across. But that's kind of besides the point. The point I wanted to make is that this thing is at least an acre, right? It's the size of a football field. Now, since when do you need that much room around a 78-foot tennis court to be able to fit it in something that's the size of a football field? You could easily fit 3 78-foot tennis courts back to back and still have room to breathe. This thing is clearly out of place on Google. So this is just one of the first of several oddities that we're looking at. And the reason that this hit me over the head is because I was looking at this image. And this image is from drone footage that occurred in the fall of 2019, either just before or just after Jeffrey was arrested. Okay, now, once he was busted by the FBI, do you think there was a whole lot of development going on this island? You think at that point now, we go to the 2020, see this little date down here, imagery, copyright 2020, Google. And then there's copyright 2020, CNES. Right. Blah, 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 whoever this geological survey contractor is. So here we are now. They're trying to say that this image is more up to date than the one of the blank.
No.
There's no possible way.
No, it doesn't even look like it. It doesn't even look like a real.
Doesn't look flat. No,
it doesn't even look like a real image.
So we can go to the 3D view, and you still have the same kind of. You see, the more further away you get from it, the more it kind of fisheyes and gets kind of bent and warped and everything like that. Unfortunately, let's see. Can we zoom in closer on 3D? Not too much. But yeah, that gives you an idea what's going on. So that's one anomaly. See, it looks pretty normal when it's dead center, but unlike the other imagery,
right?
Which means that this tennis court wasn't photographed from every possible angle.
No,
like the rest of their photography.
I'm watching that.
So, are you looking at the monitor here on the iPad?
I noticed that.
Anything about that image that looks different to you?
We are extremely unclear in our live stream,
Well, we're on lo-fi on the live stream because we're using up a lot of bandwidth right now, and that's fine.
Right, but
I'm specifically okay. That looks better.
yeah.
When it was blurred out, I'm like, man, what happened to the tennis court?
Yeah, no, it was doing that when you were talking about some of the differences in the views. It
Yeah.
began.
I'm just going to put this on. Okay, it's on 360p, so it's going to be on. Your monitor is going to be on low def. Sorry. As long as the live stream looks good for everybody else, that's the main thing that we're concerned with. Okay, so that's issue number 1 with Epstein Island and the 2 sets of photographic data that we have, one from late 2019 and one from 2020. Google expects us to believe that in sometime after Jeffrey was arrested,
his arrest, that
they went and put a tennis
appeared.
court in this weird spot. Now, I don't know if this tennis court has always been here, but however you slice it, this tennis court is fake as fuck. And you got to wonder why Google's doing this shit. That's one thing. Another thing that's interesting is that gold dome. This kind of corroborates that they've been tampering with the photographs on Google Earth too. And I want to take you to this gold dome. I don't have a picture of it handy, but have you seen the pictures of the temple building on Epstein Island?
I have seen a picture of it.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fire up the, if I can find it here. Where is it? QuickTime preview. I got to dig it up. Here it is. This is a video. This is actually the video that a lot of these shots came from that I'm referencing. And this video was taken late 2019. So take a look at this. I screen capped it so we wouldn't have to deal with lag and everything like that.
Right.
Okay, so that's the island that is next to Epstein's Island. On this video, you have a small, very small boat, looks like a fishing boat, approaching the island.
At this, that's a small yacht.
Think that's a yacht?
Yeah, absolutely. At this high in altitude, that's a yacht.
Okay.
And when was this?
Late 2019, so third quarter 2019. Now take a look at, as we're going, he's going to go around almost the entire island. As he does so, we want to kind of take a look at all of the beaches and coastlines and see if we see anything objectionable on the coastline. By the way, up here in the corner is the Epstein Temple.
Okay.
It's the tallest dwellable structure on the entire island. And that yacht didn't stop. He kept going. All right, so now he's cutting across. You can see the temple over here on the left. Apparently, this was shot with a Mavic 2 drone, which is good. Now, one thing of note is that there's a lot of outcroppings and apparent entrances to underground structures.
Right. I noticed that on the one.
And look at this. Now, I want to pause this. Remember this from the photo?
Oh, where's our tennis court?
Exactly. Now, it's loaded with construction vehicles.
Yeah.
So it's possible that those walls were constructed to conceal the construction vehicles from visitors to the island so that they wouldn't be an eyesore. That's my theory. I mean, you build something tall enough to conceal construction vehicles. But yeah, these appear to be, if I had to guess, you've got maybe a water tanker or a fuel tanker. Could be a dozer. It's hard to tell.
That looks like a front end loader.
Yep, a loader or a dozer, or this could be like I don't know what it is. It's too zoomed out to tell, but there's several videos like this on YouTube with excellent aerial footage of the island. Notice that on top of the temple, that golden globe is missing. It's not there. And anybody that's seen the pictures of the Epstein temple that have been posted online, there's this famous photo of the temple with all of the blue and white stripes, and then there's a big golden globe on top of it. The globe, I guess, Hurricane Irma blew it away. So that explains why it's not there anymore. But that was back in 2017, which is interesting because I'm going to show you something on Google Maps in a second. Then
Okay.
And that does look like to be probably the second highest elevation on the island. And then on the opposite end of the island, you actually have a resort-style setup for, I would assume, for guests and visitors and so forth. It appears to be only accessible by boat. There is a helipad, but it's on the other end of the island. There's also a beached dinghy or some kind of a, looks to be about a 30-foot boat just sitting on the sand right there. And then he zooms one out, puts it in fast motion. Get a view of the whole island, which shows you all of the coastline, all of the beaches. And it's actually a pretty interesting island because you've got this big archipelago kind of rock structure on one end where you have the two tallest points on the island here, one of which is the Epstein Temple, the other of which appears to be this spot where the tennis court isn't that we looked at. There's also a sundial right here.
And why would you place, if you owned your own resort, why would you place your tennis court so far away from?
Yeah, that's not a tennis court. This is like an 80-acre island. That's not a tennis court.
I know. That's what I'm getting at here is where you have your resort style area for entertainment, the distance to
well, it is connected by roadway. It's not connected by a paved road though. So all that construction equipment has been blurred out by Google. What the fuck, Google? Like, what is going on there? It makes you wonder if any of the executives at Google have been out to this island. There's another interesting thing here. There's a helipad. It looks like Charlie Brown drew a helipad H.
Yeah.
Let's see, which end of the island has that's not the temple end. Temple end is over here. Just kidding. It's right here. Now, anything interesting about the temple?
The dome is there.
The dome is there on the 2020 images from Google. So there's...
And our drone footage was from 2019?
From the fall of 2019. Yeah, from the summer or fall of 2019.
So can we say that either... is there the potential that there was any construction done to replace that gold dome between 2019 and 2020?
Would be very, very unlikely considering that Jeffrey Epstein was the owner of that property and he was already either in custody or dead at that point.
I would concur.
So I'd be very surprised if anything like that happened.
Yeah, who pulled that permit?
Yep. Right. Now, interestingly, too, there's another set of drone footage that is right now still available on YouTube, which is drone footage from closer to the time of the FBI raid, which is a little bit earlier in the year. Or maybe it was, I'm not sure if it was early. The FBI raid may have actually been after his death. But this section here, which is just, I don't know what direction this is, but it's just to the, beneath the temple in this current view. In that drone footage, this entire section here is dug up with a ravine all the way around it, with the middle section of it somewhat elevated as if they had carved out a trench in a rectangle. It looked like somebody went through and dug up the contents of this section. So one possibility is that those construction vehicles were employed for whatever that job was. The other possibility is that the FBI was doing something at that time and wanted to see what was happening. Now, there's a whole nother idea here too, and that's that maybe Google is actually helping law enforcement by concealing some of these key areas on the island. Maybe they have some significance to the investigation, and they don't want them to be displayed plainly. But looking at the island, knowing everything that you know, just that we've talked about in the last 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay, so
does this tennis court look abnormally big?
Not only is it abnormally big, but I want to point out the placement of such a potential facility in relation to
absurd.
where anybody who would be staying on the island would possibly be. And also what I find interesting is...
Yeah, Dave, you want to go play tennis? Sure, it's only a 25-minute walk.
Right. And also what I find interesting, too, about it is all of the different directions that you have to go in order to get to the site of the temple. If you look at the road mapping... if it were...
It's probably based around elevation, though, right? There's probably a lot of hills and valleys and things, and they make roads go a certain way so they don't have to excavate a lot.
I mean, the guy had how much money? You don't think he could afford excavating
It depends
to
how
make a
quick
direct path?
Depends how quick he was trying to get it done. And you can't really tell based on the shadows of these palm trees, necessarily. But here's the temple. And by the way, the temple is rumored to go way underground.
Well, look at the elevation that it's built at.
Yeah, that's the highest point.
Have you ever heard anything about the significance of the symbology of the ground there, or is that the roof of the temple?
This here, no, that's the
yeah.
ground. So the only structure that protrudes from the ground is this small thing, which is probably only 30 by 70 to 75 or 40 by 75 to 80 feet, but it's quite tall. It's probably 25, 30 feet tall. Now, what they're saying is that there's security footage that has been leaked by people that have been there, which seems to indicate that there are many stories beneath the ground that have been dug out, where people are apparently children, they say, have been put in the past. And hopefully that's no longer
accurate.
happening. So, there are certainly some interesting things on the island. There is a piece of land which is conspicuously censored, not just replaced with false imagery like the tennis court.
Wait, back up there.
Okay.
Right above where your cursor is.
Mm-hmm.
Go down. Right there.
Yep. That's a shadow. There's a lot of ledges and rocks, like you can see right here where the road goes into a rut. It goes into a valley because this is tall terrain and they had to carve it out instead of going up and down a hill. So there's a ton of shadows in this imagery, and if you rotate, you can see that the shadow stays put based on the time of day. All the shadows follow it. So that I don't think is censorship there.
I'm not saying that, but it looks like an opening to me.
Well, there's tons of openings, but they're mostly on the periphery. And the theory is that that's how they got people that they didn't want visible to the outside world transported into wherever they were transporting them, presumably that temple.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Easy. Boat pulls up. You go into one of those little things. You can easily take people out and take them through. Okay.
So here you go. Here's an excavation site. This is very obviously an excavation site. You've got this dirt road that goes off the main road down to a place where they've either been taking or placing material, and you can tell that by the pattern of this roadway and the beach. This is not a natural formation. There's been vehicles going back and forth here, but this is. I've never seen anything, and I worked for an excavating contractor for 7 years. I've never seen anything like that. This is
like the
170. This is a 50-foot span here on the scale, down here in the corner. This has got to be 200 to 250, maybe 300 feet long. Okay, that's not a natural formation. This is something that Google has grayed out.
I was going to say, it looks like hash marks.
It does. Now, there's also a little bit of a harbor here. So it does make you wonder if...
Well, and you have a building there, too.
Yep, there's some kind of shack right here. It's very small, whatever it is.
Well,
you can see it's about the size of... It's about the same breadth as one of these treetops. So it's, 15, 20 feet across, maybe? It's small. But that you go along the coastline of this island and you just go, what the fuck? And there's all kinds of weird things like that. Although if you were going to take people to the temple, this wouldn't be the way to go. This does look extremely steep here. Maybe you would have to go up and around. But why you wouldn't pave a permanent road for that purpose, I don't understand. Looks like a couple legitimate beaches on this side of the island. The helipad. Some maintenance buildings, parking lots, and then you've got this resort-style facility here. Interestingly enough, there's a lot of... I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is the letter E. A lot of the structures have either E on them or JE. There's some up-close photos that I don't have prepped for this video of the temple, where it actually says JE on the outsides of the temple building. So that's that. 3 really significant inconsistencies with Epstein Island versus what's visible on Google Maps. And you would think that when confronted with this kind of evidence that Google would fix it or maybe update their map data so that it's actually reflective of the truth instead of having 3 very good examples of censorship or cover up or whatever it is. I just hope that it's serving a better purpose and that they're helping the investigators get to all the bottoms of all the crimes,
I would hope so.
Let's take one more look at this this fly around video.
What I found interesting in some of what I had looked up was how significant some of the celebrities were that own islands very, very, very close to the island. And that's easily researchable and can be found online when you look up Epstein Island and neighboring islands and who owns them. Some very, very prominent figures and celebrities.
And such as?
Such as Oprah.
Oh, so Oprah has an island near Epstein Island?
She does, but I'm not going
to. No, you just marked yourself.
Johnny Depp has an island, I believe.
They just run a story on People magazine about how Johnny Depp is broke now or something. How can you be broke and own an island in the Caribbean?
Well, he pirated it.
He is Captain Jack Sparrow.
Now, I just...
So, what I find interesting about this, too, is if you trail back just a hair, you see the neighboring island,
right,
which appears to be, I can't tell if this island's the same. Maybe it might be a little bit smaller. You have a crap ton of sailing vessels that are moored.
Right.
Which probably means that they're expecting bad weather, because this island appears to be vacant or close to it. Now, they do have cell towers, which means they're powered with radio connectivity. Both islands have one. Okay. And so they're reachable by cellular. They're probably getting their electricity either by underground cabling or by, more than likely, local generators on the island. But the thing that strikes me the most about this island, the neighboring island, maybe this is Oprah's island, is that look how many trees are on it. The thing is covered with trees. It's like almost entirely undeveloped.
Right.
And then you get to Jeffrey's Island.
Extremely developed.
It's almost bare. I mean, it's 2/3 or more
developed.
bare. Yes. And this island was purchased by Jeffrey Epstein in right smack in the middle of the Clinton administration, 1998, I believe.
Now, another thing that stands out to me is, if I were going to build my house or an area that I wanted to live on, I would want to find potentially like a different area of the island that would be perhaps maybe a little bit more protected from things like hurricanes or major storms.
Wait a minute. Which structure are you talking about?
The actual resort area.
The resort.
Look how, like, if you go back and you look at the elevation of that versus the elevation at which the...
so here's the resort area up here, up north.
Okay, but when you were down at the other angle and you look at the elevation of the... I don't know. Okay, so can you pan that out at all?
I can't. This is the video. But I get what you're saying. This point is very high.
Right. Okay, so...
And the resort, which is on the opposite end, is very low.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they want to be able to get to the beach easily.
However, the potential question of could this have, or the multi-levels, it makes sense that you would build this... the temple part on a high point in order to enable you to build multi-level
basements.
Yes, multiple levels within the temple.
And on a rocky structure too, which would have required a ton of highly specialized. Like, I want to find the construction contracts for this.
Right.
That's the interesting thing, because what is it, 1998 till 2020? So that's a period of 22 years during which all of this occurred. I mean, we have pretty modern record-keeping standards in the last 22 years. I mean, that stuff should all be digital. It should all be traceable. Then again, maybe it's not, because I think sometimes they want to eliminate the cash economy so that they can keep it to themselves, to keep things secret. Maybe.
No, it's not that. What's happening for me is, and it's been happening for probably the last 10 minutes, is I have excruciating pain in my throat area right now. And like some horrible stuff happened here.
There's no doubt about that.
And for anyone who may be new to watching Trouble in Paradise.
By the way, that's the spot. Sorry to interrupt you. Let me back it up just a hair. That's the spot on the right there that is blocked on Google. So this swath of land here
is where
there's the little shack.
Right. And that's where
everything
the
from
hash marks
here
are.
Until about here is covered up by checkerboards. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell what this structure is, but it appears to be maybe 20 by 40 without a roof on it.
Incinerator.
Oh, God. If that's the case, why would Google not want to show that? I certainly hope that's not the case.
I'm just going by what I just heard. Through,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll have to investigate that further. All right. What else?
What else do you want to know?
No, what else? What else are you getting? And it's definitely it's an intriguing place to look at topologically. It makes you wonder how the fuck they pulled everything off the way they did. It must have taken a tremendous amount of high-level secrecy to even build it. Considering that in 1998, this entire thing was just, it looked like that other island with nothing but trees on it. So.
There.
Let it out. Let it out.
You want me to let it out?
You can let it out. We'll wrap up soon. But yeah, go ahead and let it out.
All right. So when we were zoomed in on the temple, I was picking up on the energy of many, many children. And you could hear them screaming and ritualistic torture. And that's why I said I was getting pain in my throat. And I just I can't stop hearing these kids screaming right now. And every time that you pan around this island, it's there is a lot of bad stuff that happened here. And every bit of my intuitive sense right now, I'm getting hot, so I know I'm on the right track with this. I feel like if somebody were to be in this temple, there would be a narrow stairway and the old what you would imagine back in the archaic days of where there was a mental hospital, or these the big TB hospitals and everything, and they would have these chutes that they would just place the body in and let it slide down, is what it's these.
It's interesting you say that. Have you done any photographic research about the temple?
I don't know.
Prior to this?
I don't know anything about this temple.
So
I know the
that actually describes some of what is out there. There are pictures of staircases that are visible on leaked security camera footage.
These look like they're rather narrow to me. They look and appear to be maybe a marble or granite. But then there's a chute. It's just these kids are being trashed and put down these chutes, and down they go to an area where they are collected, and then that other area where you're what is that structure? It's I'm picking up on incineration. It's that's they burn them. They burn these, and I'm sorry.
It's interesting. Do you think that they probably burned them right there on the coastline, or do you think that's where they dumped the ashes? Because I think it would make more sense to burn them in the tennis court, which was restricted visibility.
No, I believe that's a ritualistic area.
By the tennis court, or by the coastline.
The area where the tennis court is, the direction of the X, I felt like I could people would walk a path and like that those are like paths that people would ritualistically walk.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
order to create that
A trail.
And it's done in a ritualistic way, and
Let's
it's
look at
being
that.
covered by a tennis court. So if somebody were like, okay, so that one area, I'm just like, every time I see it, I'm like, that's an altar
Up here?
right there. That is an altar. And it's overgrown right now.
Well,
But
it does seem odd to me
anything that happened in there, you have these big mounds that are surrounding this area, so people can't see what's going on inside.
Yep.
Those pathways
They would have to climb over it.
It's done in a ceremonious way where people would walk.
Okay, then you have a pavered and retaining walled entrance. So if this were there purely for construction purposes, you wouldn't need pavers,
No.
and you wouldn't need a retaining wall.
No, you would have a bonfire in an area like this.
Okay.
You would light somebody's ass on fire.
Well, there is some discoloration right here. I mean, I understand this is probably months after the fact, but there's.
No, I'm just I'm getting very hot right now, and I see these people that would potentially be walking around in a just sick, ceremonious ritual and burn some, I'm almost like I'm getting angry talking about it because that's what that area just brings.
You know,
brings anger.
A photo of, I don't know if it's visible anywhere in this video. We'll have to go digging it up. But there's a photo of the temple that actually features an owl god statue, which is the owl statue. I forget which god it is, but it's a well-known dark god, non-Christian god, or Satanist god. And it's not on this video, but there's a photo that exists that shows a statue of that god right on the corner of the temple. So I agree with you. I have no doubt that this place was used for ritualistic. I mean, clearly you take one look at that building and you know that it was used for something ritualistic. For better or for worse. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's either monks living here.
No. Or
there's somebody terrible living here, working here, what have you. But there's no in between. This is not a humdrum.
No, and this isn't one person. This is a lot of people.
Yeah, it is a lot of people.
This is a lot of people. I feel like at one point that roadway would have been covered with people walking up in robes, and almost not necessarily, I wouldn't see torches, but I see carrying fire up those trails up to the temple. This island represents, and my throat's getting tight again every time I see that temple. I feel like I'm somebody, I feel like I'm being strangled. Every time I see that freaking thing.
Well, it's probably a good time to wrap it up then. So this has been kind of a way deep dive. So we should probably back away from it and climb out of the rabbit hole for a little bit. Because you're much more sensitive to this. You're intuitive. You're in tune with the spiritual world in a way that many of us are not. So I appreciate your insight and what you have, felt emotionally is sort of a revelation about what some of this may actually be about. And I just pray that all this stuff comes to light because it's obviously extremely evil, and it's a shame that the privileged and the elite take advantage of people the way they do. And anybody who denies that is a fucking asshole that has their head up their ass. And is there anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
There has to be justice for these people.
Yep. There
That's
does.
it. That, I mean,
There does. Well, there is going to be cosmic justice no matter what. So we'd like justice in this world if we can. That'll help us feel better as citizens of Earth. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and just take the reins and wrap everything up. I'm Nigel Kent.
I'm Jazmine Starr.
And thanks for hanging out with us on Trouble in Paradise. This has been a live stream deep dive episode. This is going to be YouTube only. No podcasts. In the meantime, if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can find us at Tipcast239 on Twitter, Trouble239 on Instagram, and trouble@trouble239.com if you want to email us. Of course, right here on YouTube, Trouble in Paradise. Our podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and wherever awesome podcasts and shitty podcasts are found. We hope you have a wonderful night. And whenever you're watching this, you may be watching this years from now. Hopefully a lot of these mysteries are